I got a challenge for you. Given that you have been an outspoken critic of Donald Trump, can you say one thing you like and one thing you don't like about Donald Trump? And perhaps can you do the same for our current president, Joe
Sure.
Biden? One thing you like and one thing you dislike.
So it's harder for me to do the one thing I dislike because there's so many things I dislike. But the one thing I like about Donald Trump, he believes that America should be a better country. I disagree on what he thinks it should be, but he's not a declinist. He's someone who believes the world could be made better. I disagree with what he's trying to do. I disagree with how he's trying to do it, but I like the fact that he thinks it can be better. His whole argument for himself is that he can make things better. I don't think he can, but I think things can be made better. So I like the second half of that sentence when he says, I can make things better. Take the I out. I like the can be better because there are too many people on the left and the right who think that that we can't make things better. We have to accept them as they are, or they're getting worse. I think a world without hope is horrible, and I think what he has offered his followers is a kind of hope.
Mm-hmm. So underneath his message is a kind of optimism for the future of this nation.
Yeah, it's a narcissistic optimism, but it's still an optimism. Yes, that he's promising that if you elect him again, he will make things better, and I think people need to be told, and we need to believe that we can make things better. So that part I accept, and I reject those who say we can't make things better. My whole historical career is about showing that history gives us tools to make things better. So I like the idea of trying to make things better and giving people hope and reason to believe that things can be better.
What's the main thing you dislike about Donald Trump?
I think he has no concern or care for the welfare of anyone other than himself.
So you mean on a basic human psychology perspective?
I think he doesn't even care about his children. I think it's him. I think he's gone into a rabbit hole. He might not always have been this way. I did watch him a long time in New York City when I was growing up in New York, and I think he's been in this path. And I think it's it's a clinical kind of narcissism.
So do you, when you analyze presidents, and you've written about presidents, you don't just look at policies and so on. You look at the human being.
Of course, you have to. Leadership is about human being. Policy matters. It's one part of the equation, but it's not the only part.
What about Joe Biden? What do you like and what do you dislike about him?
So what I like about Joe Biden is, in contrast to Trump, I think Joe Biden really, right now in his career, sees his role as the shepherd of democracy. He really believes that it's his role as president to make our democracy more stable and more vibrant. I think he really believes. I think that's why he's doing what he's doing right now.
And he comes from that system, the political system, that basically the process of democracy. He's worked there for many decades.
It's all he's done.
Yeah, that's all he knows. That he wants that to propagate for better or for worse.
Right. And he's not an extreme Democratic partisan at all. He's actually a pretty middle of the road guy on most issues. Some people don't like him for that, but I think he is about democracy. What do I dislike about Biden? I think he does not have the capacity right now to provide the language and the public discussion of where our country should go. He doesn't have a language to inspire and build enthusiasm for the future.
That would probably be one of my, because I'm a sucker for great speeches. And so for me, that's definitely a thing that stands out for several reasons. One, in a time, because we've been facing so many challenges, like the pandemic, it just seems to me, it seems like an easy, layup. There's so many troubles we're going through that just require a great unifying president with a great, just if I were to speak candidly about kind of the speaking ability of Obama, for example, Obama would just destroy this right now, both on the war in Ukraine, on the pandemic, all of it. There's a hunger for unification, I believe. Maybe people disagree with that because I think people have become cynical in that the divisions that we're experiencing are kind of already really baked in. They've really planted their feet. But I don't think so. I think there's a huge hunger, maybe a little bit of a quiet hunger for a unifier, for a great unifier.
I agree. And I think what a great speech does is it's like a great piece of music or poetry. It helps you see something in yourself and feel something you didn't feel before. It doesn't overcome all different. I don't think that speeches are unifying, but I think what they are is they're mobilizing. And you can mobilize people to the same mission with different points of view.
Do you think Trump derangement syndrome is a medical condition? Also, is there such a thing as Biden derangement syndrome? What I mean by that, it's a funny kind of question, but why are people so deeply outraged, seemingly beyond reason, at their hatred or support of Donald Trump, but hatred in particular? I've seen a lot of friends and people I respect like lose their mind completely.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it's a medical condition or not because I'm not a medical doctor. So my kids say I'm the wrong kind of doctor.
I'm a doctor, so let me take it over from here. No, the fact that you get the doctor sign after getting a PhD is a ridiculous hilarity to me. Hilarious, ridiculous.
So as the wrong kind of doctor, I'll say I'm not going to comment on whether it's a medical condition, but I do think you're onto something. I think there is a way in which these men become touchstones of anger. And there's all kinds of anger and anxiety that people have. And I've seen this in other historical periods. You center it on one person. Mm-hmm. In a way, that's John Wilkes Booth and Lincoln. He actually didn't have a personal beef with Lincoln. It was that all the things he feared were manifest in that. And I think that's an old story, and then it's made worse by social media and the way we're bombarded. And it's like it becomes a drug. I mean, there are people I know who hate Trump or Biden so much and just watch them. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't watch them, it's that they do watch them, right? And it's just sort of, and it triggers you and you get hateful, and then you feel like you've done something by shouting out your hate or typing in. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if it's a derangement syndrome. I think it's a way in which our energy gets channeled and expressed in totally useless ways.